Hello everybody, December 9th, 2022. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin. First, what I said on Monday. We had been looking for potentially the bears to take over. We had a potential 5 waves down that I mentioned here, and the bounce that we had gotten was looking pretty corrective. So this was that area right there, right? Right about here. That was potentially 5 waves down, corrective bounce. And then we did see a drop down below that level of 16.8, which I said, it becomes likely below 16.8 that we see low 16Ks next, but obviously that didn't happen either. And so, but we haven't gone here either, above 17,360. We haven't yet gone above that. We kind of tapped it earlier today, I guess. So anyway, what this means to me is that we're just in for more chop. One way or another, this is very, very choppy. It's not going to give us a clear trend in any direction. So, that makes it difficult to trade. And I had grabbed shorts in this box right here. I grabbed shorts on Bitcoin, on Ether, on Litecoin. And then as I saw it drop below 16,860, I set my stops to break even, because if it went back up there, the likelihood was that it was going to continue upwards a little bit more, maybe explore the top of this red box. Maybe we're not done with that yet. And so I did get stopped out. Now, luckily, Litecoin died a bit more. I was able to take a profit of about 30% on Litecoin, which is always good. And I didn't lose anything on the trade, which is also always good. And that's the power of Elliott wave analysis, is that it kind of gives you those high probability trades, like, yep, we're going to short here, and then once it drops below that level, then we can move the stop to break even and make it a risk-free trade, which is really, really good, really an effective way to consistently make money in trading. So anyway, what are we seeing now? Well, we've got a couple possibilities. Number one, this whole area here remains danger zone. This can be A, B, and we're just maybe not done with that C wave yet. It is very possible that is the case. We may want to explore closer to that 17.7 area. It's not a clean structure if it does that, but we could potentially have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a C wave if it does that. So that's probably my primary expectation at this point, is that at some point this is going to top out in a C wave, and then we still head down further. But the confidence in that has dropped a little bit, because this, the bears really haven't taken over effectively. And I would like to see them take over effectively if that were to be the case. But they still have a chance, of course, if they go 17.7 and then we see a 5-wave decline. That's a pretty clear indication that the top is, again, likely in at that point. The alternate scenario is that we are potentially in a diagonal situation wherein this is probably, it's hard to say. It's possible this is still 1 here in the red, and then this would be A, B, and C in wave 3. That's a possibility, where we would stretch up here, above probably about 18K-ish for that 3rd wave, and this would proceed in a very choppy manner for 4 and 5. And if we see all 5 of those play out, then we can start to think about longing after that. But it being a diagonal structure, it's really not highly reliable, so I'd be cautious anyway. But I definitely need to see at least those 5 play out in order to get any sort of long on this. The other possibility, this can be A, B, C of wave 1. This might just be wave 1 of a diagonal, or in a bearish case, that could be a W, right? Maybe this is A, B, C. We come back down to this area here for a 2 or an X. And then we proceed upwards in another ABC, and that could be 3 or Y. If it's a Y wave, it dies. If it's a 3, it comes down for a 4, and then a larger 5. So you can see the complexity with trying to track these 3-wave corrective structures. There's just too many possibilities to realistically say what is likely at this point. And so until proven otherwise, I prefer to think of this as a more simple C wave. But just be aware that we can certainly press higher, and it's not necessarily a bullish sign. If this turns into WXY, that's 3 waves instead of 5. So we can get up into this area in 3 waves and then still go down. So just getting above 18K is not enough to say bottom is in. We need to get above that 18K, preferably 18.5K area with 5 waves. And as I said, even that is not something we can reliably say the bottom is in. It would just be a possibility that the bottom is in at that point. So I really don't think we have anything micro here. Let me go down and just double check that. This is all just ridiculous chop. I mean, there's nothing you can do with this sort of movement here. This right here is obviously not an impulse, right? Maybe it's an ABC and then an ABC and then an ABC. You know, maybe we've got like a diagonal sort of a deal potentially forming here. But you know, all of this really is not clear then, and we've already kind of gone beyond the bounds of what a normal diagonal structure would do as well. So you know, you really can't rely on that. Maybe this is ABC and a W, and then we've got an X somewhere down here, and we're going to go up for a Y wave up here. Let's play with that and see what that tells us the top might be real quick. If we just go from the bottom to the topmost point to the bottommost point, that points us to 17.7. So there's some more evidence that we may end up just topping right there around that area. That 1.0 extension is a pretty typical place where, you know, a C wave plays out. This could be A, B, C, or WXY of a larger C or Y. Hard to say which one it is. But in any case, you know, it potentially projects a top right there around 17.7, maybe as high as 17.9, as possibly the end of that before we proceed further down. So my tactic at this point in time is I'm just out. I'm in cash, not in any leverage positions. You know, I took my profit on those shorts, as I said, and just kind of building up capital with anything that I see like that short. You know, if I can make some short-term trades, that's fantastic. I think the likelihood is fairly good that we do come up to this area at a minimum. It's not 100%, but this is obviously 3 waves down that it formed here now. So, you know, we likely see kind of a break over that high for the bears to then potentially try to take it down again. But it's not a high enough chance or a clear enough structure for me to want to trade, because realistically I'd have to put my stop below that low, and my target is really just that box. And so you can just, you know, very easily come in here and do a long position and see what your risk reward is. Your stop's here and your target's here. You're talking, you know, best case scenario, it's like a 1-to-1. You know, you're potentially gaining as much as you're risking, which is not a great way to trade. Best case scenario, it's like 1.5, which still isn't good. I shoot for at least 2-to-1 reward to risk in my trade. So basically all that means is that this is a no trade zone for me. I don't see any valid trade at the moment to take. And you know, best thing to do is just kind of wait it out and wait for it to clarify. But I do think that, you know, the danger of heading down lower to 12 to 14K is still extremely high. We've got no great indication that bottom is in at this point. So that's what I see right now. We'll see. Weekends have been really quite dead, so not sure if we're likely to get any significant movement over the weekend, but it's usually a good idea, honestly, to kind of fade whatever the weekend does. If we get a dump on the weekend, you know, into like Saturday night or Sunday morning, like usually it reverses. If we get a pump, you know, instead kind of fade that and short it. You know, maybe it's risky because then you're not really clear on what your stop should be, but That's kind of the pattern that we tend to see. But anyway, best thing to do, as I said, is just kind of wait it out and wait for more clarity before doing anything. So, all right, have a safe weekend, everybody. Hopefully you don't get chopped up by this, and I will talk to you again on Monday. We'll see if we have anything more clear at that point. Have a good night.